So cool. Welcome everybody from Between the White Lines. We are lucky, honored to have Gregory Gettinger here today, who's kickstarted his Kickstarter program, and we have live access to the man himself. So Gregory, welcome.
Hi, Mark. Nice to have you.
How does the mantle Che Guevara of tennis suit you?
I don't feel like a revolutionary guy, but anyway, it's a lot of fun, I can tell you.
And you've been at it for 3 years or so, and I should imagine a few million have been pumped into it.
Yes, actually, I had this idea exactly 3 years ago, and since then, a few millions went down the drain, and a lot of development, but a lot of fun too. So we're getting ahead.
Yeah, wow. Such is the life of brave tech entrepreneurs, isn't it? You're going to tell me you had a full head of hair when you started.
Yes, and I was in a far better shape than now.
Cool. So I'm pretending that there are thousands of people there just like me, that it all sounds very exciting, but really it's difficult for us to get a feel, a fix of what it's going to look like, how it's going to affect my future. So this is what the questions are about. The first thing then is kind of what's the reason for your existence? Tech is great. This is the question. Bricks and mortar meets tech. And we've Uber, Airbnb, Blockbuster, you name it, there's a collision. So now we have bricks and mortar, which is our real estate of tennis courts, meeting your tech. What problem does it solve? What are the implications?
Okay, well, Mark, it is actually not about tech. It's about what can I do? Okay, what product do I get? And there's basically two big elements on the whole thing. The one thing is we converted the real tennis life, the real tennis court with all the movement, with all the ball physics, into the virtual world. Okay, so now you put your headsets on and you play tennis out of your living room as you would play on a tennis court with all the authentic movements, motions, ball physics, etc., etc. Okay,
do you actually feel as though you're on court? That's what I'm grappling with.
Yes, you put your headsets on and you are virtually on a tennis court, and you are in the stadium of Roland Garros, and the spectators are there, and the stadium speaker tells you, welcome, Mark, to the finals against Gregory, playing now tennis. And that's an emotion which you certainly don't get on the real tennis court, okay? But
so now you get transported there. You don't feel as though you're playing it in your lounge. You actually feel as though you're playing on a tennis court.
You are on a tennis court. And I tell you, it takes you 1 second and you have the feeling you are on.
Wow, Gregory.
Okay. And now you have the fun of it. And the great fun is not only that you play tennis as on a tennis court. So you have all these additional possibilities, almost unlimited possibilities, which you do not get on a tennis court. And it's from training to matching. Okay. And I can give you an endless list of what you get, which you don't get on the real tennis court.
Yeah. So really, what are you then? I know you don't like the word tech, but are you modernizing the sport using tech so that the sport becomes more affordable, accessible, and fun?
We are modernizing the sport in different ways. The one way is we are attracting a new target group. Okay, we're attracting all the youngsters, the teenagers who are addicted to electronic games, and now we're getting them into the tennis sport. Okay, because once they learn and play tennis with our virtual authentic game, they can go tomorrow on the real court and utilize all these movements, these motions, this technique to play real tennis. So we are getting a completely new target group, because many of those youngsters disappear, once they are 14, 15 from the real tennis court, and we're catching them again. Okay, that's the one part. The other part where we're modernizing tennis is the way you can learn and the way you can play tennis. Okay, so in the future, you make your forehand and you compare your forehand with the forehand of Roger Federer, Dominic Thiem, or the ideal movement computed by our system based on your individual biomechanics. And then we bring you step by step, inch by inch, to the ideal forehand. Okay, we tell you your elbow is too high, you're not hitting the ball with the right timing, you're not follow through your arm over your shoulders, etc., etc. And we bring you, day by day, session by session, into the ideal tennis techniques, which you then can use on the real tennis court.
Yeah.
Okay. So these are ways to learn tennis which are never seen before.
Yeah. I was speaking to Chris Matthews earlier that hung around Vic Braden. So I said to him, this is like having virtual Vic Braden as your personal coach. How good is that? And it might even be better than Vic Braden.
Well, Vic Braden had exactly the same ideas in the 80s, but he didn't have the technology to do it.
Yeah.
Okay? Now the technology is out there, but poor Vic Braden is dead. And and he was a forerunner, of tennis technology. So we're basically now implementing all his ideas and his visions into real life, and it's coming next year, basically.
Wow. I read this book, if people can see it.
Yes.
And the point about showing the book for you to explain is that you're not inventing a new industry, really. You're following on the path of esports that's been well proven. Yes. So you are taking in a different direction, but you're not starting from scratch.
Well, I'm calling it tennis esports for different reasons. What we're doing here is actually a tennis simulation game and training system at home or in the club. But we want to basically build an ecosystem. And that's why I'm looking at the esport ecosystem, because what they have done is something fantastic. They have created teams, leagues, competitions, broadcasting, media, a hype. And that is something which we want to do with tennis esports. So what tennis is today is the top 100 individuals are making money, and the top 3 are making the real money. Okay.
Yep.
In tennis esports, we will have a set of teams, okay, running a championship. Okay. And if you take the esport teams which are out there right now, the New York Yankees, for example, they're worth $6 billion and they're shooting aliens. Okay. So now we're going to build teams with tennis players. Tennis coaches can build their own teams and they can compete each other worldwide on a digital base. And we can play regional tournaments, we can play national tournaments, continental tournaments. We will have the World Cup. And at the end of the day, we will go to the Olympic Games. Okay, that's the vision.
Wow. And and COVID won't affect you either.
Well, COVID, as we all hate COVID, for us it helps because you now can play tennis from home. Now you don't have to travel, you don't have to have any physical contacts. You still can play tennis, you can learn tennis, you can play with your friends, you can play on-learn. And when COVID is over, you will have the perfect technique to go out to the real court and play tennis again.
Wow. So so here's an opportunity for then courts, clubs, academies. If everybody, not everybody, but if many people are now coming on the court with much improved technique, what's the opportunity for clubs when everybody already has good technique?
Well, the opportunities are twofold. First of all, as I already said before, a lot of young players are going to come again back to tennis because tennis has the problem that they're losing the teenagers when they hit 13, 14, 15, and they come back when they're 40, 50. Okay.
Yeah.
So you're getting a new target group back to the tennis courts. That's the one.
Yeah.
Point. Okay. The second point is that in our market research, we found out that 2/3 of the tennis players, of the recreational tennis players, don't go back to the club because they cannot control the ball in the game. They have a problem with the technique. And not only them, all the opponent they're playing with is not bringing back the ball. So there's no ball going back and forth, which is the fun of the game. Okay.
Yeah.
Now with our system, we're getting the recreational players to learn a technique to control the ball and to have a technique which you can use and enjoy the game of playing tennis. So it's
amazing.
It's a completely new thing.
Awesome. And I presume clubs can have their own system.
Yes.
And instead of teaching people painfully, incrementally, expensively over the long time with a coach and a bucket of balls, they can now teach them quicker, effectively, easier, and more fun in
Yes.
some e-tennis studio in the tennis club.
But I really want to, make the point here. This is not a system which shall substitute the coach or substitute the club. It should be an add-on, okay? It should help. It should help the tennis coaches to give some additional features and information to their students and to their players. For example, now I can tell you session by session if somebody's backhand, if the spin is getting better, if his velocity of the ball spin gets better, if his trajectory gets better, if his motion gets better, if he's getting his timing right. Now, session by session, the tennis coach can follow up the data of his students and give them on the real court feedback how they're doing on a quantitative and qualitative basis. Never happened before.
Yeah, powerful. And from what you're just saying, this seems to me that whether you're aged 4, 5, 6, and 90, this is a sport for all. This is a tennis for all technology.
Yeah, but the industry says you should not put on the headsets before you're like 12, 13, 14.
Okay.
They have no good data yet for kids using virtual reality. So we have to keep on and see what the science says about using VR, as a very young player.
Very good. Thank you. Let's talk about handsets, TV screens, computers now, and where you see it going in the future as this becomes much more of a commodity and more players jump into the industry.
Yes, well, hardware is very important, especially the costs and the quality of hardware. So right now, to use our system, you still need an expensive gaming computer with graphic card and a headset. So you run easily into 4,000 euros to buy the whole hardware if you don't have it. Okay,
yeah.
Many people have a gaming computer, many people have VR headsets, but not everybody. So the investment into hardware is quite an entry barrier for the whole system. But as we can see, is hardware is getting cheaper and cheaper and more powerful year by year. Okay, so the latest is that Oculus Quest came out with a headset, which is a standalone headset where you don't need any computer anymore, and it's selling right now for $299 in the US.
What?
So the entry barrier gets lower and lower. So we are testing now if we can, get on the Oculus Quest very soon, so that people really have access to the whole thing quicker. But there's one thing I want to tell you, Mark, is what I told you about the training module, that you can learn, inch by inch, your perfect technique, still means you have to have cameras around you to follow up your full body your full body motions and track that, capture that, and compute that. So that's still something which you still will have to have in the future, to have a camera system around you, taking up. But I can tell you very soon, the mobile is gonna take that, and then we have a complete system with a mobile and headsets, and the headsets become like sunglasses. It's unbelievable. They're getting lighter and lighter, and it's crazy what's going on there.
It's extraordinary. Probably it's going to increase. So kind of in the tech world, it's like each year you get twice the output, half the price. I can see it becoming much more than twice the output at less than half the price.
It goes like that, yeah.
Cool. Have you had, so who have you had testing it so far? Because we're about to get into beta testing time. So have you had amateur club players? Have you had the pros? Like, talk us through coaches. Any coaches used it?
Yes. Well, we started up with the employees. We started up with family and friends. And in the meantime, from my local club here in Vienna, basically all the tennis coaches are using it and trying it and giving us feedback. And what we can see is that the better you know how to play tennis, the better you are in VR already. But come on, it's an authentic game, so it's logical, okay? So tennis coaches immediately play, as if they would, playing VR years.
Yeah.
And for other people who are new to tennis, it takes time as if you would be on the real court. It's no big difference actually. So we're getting a lot of feedback, and we're taking this feedback, and what we are doing now is we are enlarging the number of beta testers more and more and more to get all this feedback, getting out the bugs, improve the system, because we're not going to go out to as a commercial product as in Q2 21.
Okay. And what's the highest ranked or the most elite player or coach that's used this so far?
Well, we have the ITN system in Austria, which is like, Dominic Thiem has 1.0. So we had people like 2.5 to 3.0, testing the system. But we have already lined up a number of real professional players. One of them is Thomas Fabiano, the guy who won against Dominic Thiem in the last US Open, the first round. I don't know if you know that, that game. So he's one of us. Thomas Muster is there. There's, we have Dominic Thiem waiting for the system to test it.
Wow.
So we're going to have a lot of real professional players to test it. But Mark, don't forget, this is not a system we are actually, producing and developing for the top 10 and the top 100. It's for everyone. It's for the kids, for the teenagers, for the recreational people who want to learn and improve tennis and have fun. And for all these kids who are addicted to electronic games and shooting aliens and sitting on the couch and eating potatoes, this is something to do a real sport out of the living room and have fun doing a real sport and utilizing what they learn here, with all the hours, to have a real, being able to having real tennis out in the real life. Okay.
Yep.
So it has some other meanings here.
A massively exciting time. I can see people of all ages, but let's talk about it, the computer game console kids having the equivalent of shooting aliens, like a tie break against anybody anywhere in the world, and being in their own league. Am I off one, or is that reasonable?
Oh, we are not getting these gamers yet. Okay, well, what we can see is that all these kids who are in these shooting games are so far very little interested in doing real sports. And there's no difference in electronic games so far. So we are targeting basically all the tennis players or the kids who know how to play tennis to get them on board first. That's our first target group. And later on, I'm sure we will get the gamers one day, but not in the beginning.
Yeah, no, my language was bad. I was kind of thinking that there could be a kid in Melbourne that's training, and for whatever reason, they might not have a player, they might get on a court, they might not get a lift to a court, but they can dial into your system and find somebody in Mumbai that's awake that wants to have a game.
Oh yes, absolutely. That's the idea of the whole thing. That Mark, you and me, we could play now tennis. You're in the UK and I'm in Austria, and we could play tennis. Yes, that's the fun of it.
This is insane. This is insane, Gregory.
Yeah.
And thereby I can see obviously people then, as you say, team tennis, playing for teams against others. And expats, you might have been born in Delhi, you might be working in Manhattan, you can still join your Delhi team.
Absolutely. That's the fun of it.
This is so exciting. So talk me through, before we finish, what happens next, your Kickstarter program, your beta testing, talk me through that.
Yeah, so Kickstarter has started on Monday. So that goes well. And we will, expand our beta testing so that we can go onto the market in Q2 21. And the big thing we are developing right now is the Super League. So we will develop a championship, a VR league for all tennis players in all different levels and different ages, so that people have fun playing against each other and playing with each other. And planning a big World Cup event at the end of the year, next year. So the Super League is the next big thing we're basically developing right now.
Wow. So BTWL, Between the White Lines, will be making a pitch for that. I'm making a pitch for everybody to come and join our team right now. We'll train you how to win.
Exactly.
It's fantastic. So just before we then finish, just what's the feedback? What testimonials have you had from people playing it?
Well, people, especially the tennis coaches, they just said, wow, they have never thought that that's possible, that you just put your headsets on and you feel like, and you really play, you know, tennis out of your living room. Okay. That was one point of feedback. The second feedback was, be careful of your Chinese Ming vase and your television, okay? Because you forget that you are having, you know, you're in your living room, and then you kill everything around you, okay? So that's something you have to really be aware of, okay? You dive into a different world and you think you are there, okay?
This is one of the things, you can talk about it all you like, and you go, yeah. But until you put it on, you've got no idea what it's like, I kind of think.
Oh, it's big fun. It's emotional, because, you know, where can you go into a full stadium and play the finals with a lot of spectators and having a commentator, you know, telling you what a great serve, you know, with 200 kilometers per hour, you know, where do you find that, you know? If I go on a tennis court, nobody's watching me.
Yeah, so everybody's a hero.
Well, not everybody, but you can become a hero, and if you train and you become better, and it's fun, it's motivating. Yeah, it's motivating.
Look, Gregory, I promised you a short interview. It's been so fascinating. It's longer. I'm going to call you now Che Guevara of tennis, because you are top man, revolutionary. And what I particularly love about you is that you're very focused on the facts, and you're not sucked into the hype, which is so easy to do. So thank you for your time today. We will do whatever we can to support you and get you out there, because this is the future of tennis, and it will also grow tennis postcode by postcode, ages 4 to 90, beginner to international.
Mark,
any closing remarks? Any closing remarks, Gregory?
You're doing a wonderful job. Thank you very much, Mark.
Good. Good luck with Kickstarter. Good luck with your beta test. We'll be with you all the way.
Thank you. Bye-bye.